Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros MLB. This is the Fantasy Baseball Podcast. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, with me today for our final, that's right, if you can believe it, it's very emotional, it's a sad time, our final mock draft of the season, the Welsh, the Joe Orrico, and from the, of course, very famous Toolshed podcast, also works for Rotoballer, Chris Clegg, one of the best in the business when it comes to the minor leaguers, is going to join us today. We got a head-to-head Roto category 12-team mock. We're going to be using our mock draft simulator as always. If you want to get your last-second mocks in, this is the time to do it. So make sure you download Draft Wizard, run those draft simulations right now, because before you know it, the season's going to be upon us. Now, Clegg, just so you know, this isn't a dynasty draft. I just want you to make sure, I don't want you to go too young with some of these players today.
I got it. We'll be all right.
We're going to be tempted to take Connor Griffin, but we're not going to want to take Connor Griffin.
Yeah. I just saw Connor Griffin like 4 times last week. He looks awesome, by the way.
I just talked to Jeff Ponce about it. But, Joe, I do want to tell you, when we do these final mock draft, you're supposed to go, it's a final mock draft.
True. I did miss that opportunity. And we're all so lucky that you picked it up. Just so lucky. Joe Orrico, this is the last one for you as well. And then we got the real season going on, so that is very exciting. Do you think Welsh is excited that he doesn't have to watch Jordan Montgomery pitch for his Arizona Diamondbacks now this year?
Man, that was a brutal one. Like, I don't even know what to make of it. I mean, I've been a big Ryan Nelson fan. Maybe it makes it a little bit easier for Ryan Nelson to slip in there at some point, but I feel bad for him on a kind of a human level, Like,
of course.
Late start last year, and then he gets dragged by the team and the media, and then Tommy John. It's been a tough year or so for Jordan Montgomery.
I hear $22 million when you rub it on your arm over the year. It really does help when you can sit there, bathe in diamonds, and rub $100 bills on your arm. Tommy John goes a little bit quicker. He'll be okay.
All right, so we're gonna do one catcher, all the infielders. We've got a bunch of outfield spots too today. How many we got here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4 outfield spots, 1 util. We've got 2 RP spots and 7 pitcher spots today we're going to do. So we're going to kick things off here officially from this draft. But before we do, if you comment below and subscribe to Fantasy Pros MLB, because we're trying to get to 25,000 by opening day, and we are so close right now, you could win a John Smoltz autographed jersey. That's right, the John Smoltz, thanks to our good friends at pristineauction.com. All you have to do again, subscribe to the channel, drop your comments below, and then ring the bell till it goes ding for notifications so you never miss a piece of content here on the channel. I know you'd regret it. And don't forget to join us on twitch.tv/fantasypros for leading off live starting Thursday, opening day, big things. Of course, it'll be here on the YouTube channel, like always. And if you're saying, Joe Welsh, why won't you be here live on the YouTube channel? We will every single Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern, just taking your questions. No agenda. It's all about you because we're the show of the people. All right, today we were tempted to kind of all draft right next to each other, but that was going to make for a long day at the office for me. So Joe Orrico, he's such a mensch. You went all the way to the 1-1. Way to take one for the team, Joe. Chris Clegg is going to be over at 106. I'm going to be at the turn at 12. Welsh in between me and Clegg at 109. So we'll see how that goes. So it is Shohei Ohtani off the board, number 1, Bobby Witt Jr., Aaron Judge, Jose Ramirez, and then Ellie De La Cruz. Clegg is on the clock. Joe Orrico, when do you suspect Shohei Ohtani will be pitching? Give me the date in your mind we see Shohei on the mound.
I'd say probably late May. Sound about right. Maybe early June, but I'm not drafting him for pitching stats. I'm taking him for his hitting stats. But I think the pitchers, like I've seen, just as a side note, like there are some leagues where he's just Ohtani pitcher only. He's going way too high just because of that name brand value. I don't expect a lot from him on the mound this year, but I still expect him to do great things at the dish like he always does.
All right. I am up here on the clock at 12, and you know what? I think I'm going to do something fun here. Why not? It's the last one. Let's see how it goes. All right, let's go with the next pick here because Juan Soto to Chris Clegg at 106. Clegg, this is an OBP format we're playing in today, so Soto certainly a guy that you absolutely want to be drafting here. The OBP off the charts for him. What kind of pressure do you think he's going to put on himself, though? Because we've seen the guys who sign the monster contract. Sometimes they get off to slow starts because of all that pressure. You think that affects Soto?
I don't know. He handled the New York media pretty well last year with the Yankees. And, the first year, big contracts, it is something that I think we have to be wary of. We've seen guys kind of struggle in that first year, but I don't think we see much struggle from Soto. He's been as consistent as they come his entire career, basically. feels like a lock to give a 400 plus OBP or better, and 30 plus homers, sneak in a few steals. And yeah, the high floor in a head-to-head roto mock with OBP. Yeah, sign me up, because I think he's going to be highly consistent week over week and be extremely valuable.
All right, you're back on the clock. I'll let you make your pick. Yeah. Kyle Tucker at 107, Mookie Betts at 108. Welsh, we're getting a little antsy about Mookie Betts. I hope he's okay. He doesn't look good. I don't like the interview yesterday where he can't keep any food down. This is troubling. I hope, just forget fantasy. I hope Mookie Betts is okay.
Corbin, he looked like Christian Bale from The Mechanic. That's the
my God. It's not good. I'm really concerned about him. So shout out to Mookie, one of the best guys in sports, period. So you took Corbin Carroll at 109. On the way back, you took Alvarez at 204. That's how you're starting your team. So pretty good start here for you. How do you feel about these two outfielders as you're building from the outside in?
I feel pretty good, especially because I 100% totally, without question, knew we were doing OBP before we started this. And I did not just find out we were doing OBP when you said
and quality starts
3 seconds ago. Yep. No, I knew all these things, and that's why I'm very prepared. Corbin Carroll, no matter what, great pick. Juan Soto is the steal of the draft, going at 6 in an LVP league. Just going to point that out. But yeah, Corbin Carroll is a smash here. Very excited. I mean, Mookie Betts went right before him in this. Very excited to get him. I passed on Julio Rodriguez because this is an OBP format for Jordan Alvarez. A little bit of risk, huge power. I'm not trying to chase stolen bases quite as much, and I got Corbin Carroll. So I think this is like an ideal start of Alvarez and him. But, also pointing out, 2 outfielders in a 4 outfield didn't necessarily need to happen. But Carroll and Alvarez, I'm happy in OBP.
I already immediately want to undo all my picks. I just want to say this. Draft Wizard, you could do that. Look, it would be fun, right? I said last time. I know Mayer wanted to do this. It didn't work out for him. Gunnar Henderson won at 110. Francisco Lindor at 111. I took Paul Skeens and Therese Gubel with my 2 picks at the turn just for S's and G's. Let's have some fun. Let's see if I can make it work. I'm skeptical about it. We'll see how it goes. Fernando Tatis at 202, Vlad at 203, Alvarez to Welsh at 204, then Julio Rodriguez at 205, Jackson Churio, then Clegg. You took Bryce Harper at 207. Let's talk about Harper and your expectations for him this season.
That's another kind of high floor player that it's going to give you a major boost in OBP. It was an interesting year last year for Harper. The home runs were obviously, like, he's been inconsistent year over year. We've seen him. He had 30 last year. He had 21 and 18 the previous years, albeit a smaller sample size. But yeah, I feel like he's pretty much another lock for 30 bombs, near 400 OBP. Last year 373, but consistently going to take his walks. He's going to get on base at a high clip, and he's going to hit for power. Not going to be a 0 in stolen bases. Kind of regretted it because I had Matt Olson come back around to my next pick. So I was like I could have gotten Olson and probably been happy. Could have taken an arm, but I do like Harper. It's just another kind of safe floor with a lot of consistency that plays pretty well in head-to-head and OBP format.
All right, Trey Turner at 208, Zach Wheeler at 209, Jaron Duran at 210, then at 211, Jazz Chisholm. Then Joe Orrico at the 2-3 turn here, rounds 2 into 3, Garrett Crochet and Freddie Freeman. Freeman before Crochet, just if you're keeping score at home on the YouTube channel. I love this. I just got Crochet in our Fantasy Pros team league there for our employee league. Very excited about him.
As did I. Just want to point out, also in the Fantasy Pros league. I
got Austin Wells in that league just for you, Welsh. I got him for $2 at the end of the draft because it was only a 10-team league. Supply and demand. You got to love it. So Crochet, Joe Orrico, you got to feel pretty good about this. Look at you with your Dodgers stack. How's that feel right now?
Yeah, I'm doing a little best ball here, mixing it up. No, I think that those two are just so fantastic. And I don't set out to have players that are on the same teams in roto or head-to-head or any of those things. Not necessarily, but it'll still help out. Those guys are going to be banking a lot of each other's stats in terms of the runs and RBI. One guy hits a home run, the other guy scores. So I'll take it. Freddie Freeman for his career, the OBP is pushing 400. I love those two. I don't love the reports that he might have to miss some time, but he's looked fantastic in spring. He was a little bit hurt at the end of last year, and we saw it didn't really bother him in the postseason at all. And then Garrett Crochet, I've been a big fan of his, but also because it's the last mock draft, I have to make sure that Chris Welsh does not end up with Garrett Crochet and end up with the upper hand there.
Yeah, no, I looked. I was like, where is he? Oh, he went the first pick in the 3rd round. Awesome. Great.
Ketel Marte at 302, Jackson Merrill at 303, Austin Riley at 304. I got both of those guys in that draft as well. I was just mentioning it was salary cap, so a little different scenario there. Rafael Devers, Kyle Schwarber to Chris Clegg. Now Schwarber, a guy, look at you with your Philly stack, Harper and Schwarber. So Schwarber obviously going to continue to kill your batting average. How do you feel about that? Because you always want to try to offset those things But again, actually, what am I saying? Batting average doesn't matter.
I was about to say it doesn't matter. It's great.
So you're good. So how does that make you feel here? Kyle Schwarber's, let's talk about his value because we're so used to those batting average leagues. I got trapped there between Schwarber in batting average leagues, Schwarber in OBP leagues. Clegg, how much does that change the ADP for you?
I think it's pretty significant. I mean, the OBPs are substantial year over year. Points league, he plays well. OBP league, he plays very, very well. Last year, 366 OBP, despite a 248 batting average. You absolutely take that. And the OBP floor now on the team is extremely high with Soto, Harper, and Schwarber. So I can kind of build however I want to moving forward and have a pretty good base there to potentially win that category week over week. But yeah, I mean, Schwarber, 100 runs in RBI each of the last 2 years. He's going to be potentially leading off for them. Again, that would be huge for his value. 40 home runs. He's really, really good value in OBP, in my opinion.
Matt Olson at 307, at 308, Manny Machado, Logan Gilbert to the Welsh. We'll get to your picks in a second here. Ronald Acuna goes at 310. So mad. I was hoping he would make it to me because I would absolutely pull the trigger there, but instead he goes before me. Corbin Burns. Then I took Pete Alonso and Corey Seager, just the BPA guys on the board. I like Alonso here playing for basically a contract again. And then Corey Seager, always holding your breath when it comes to the health of Corey Seager, but the best player on the board, premium shortstop. Let's go. Contreras next, then Jose Altuve. Let's talk about Chris Sale, Logan Gilbert, Welsh. You've gone back-to-back pitchers here, so back-to-back outfield with Corbin Carroll, Alvarez, and then Gilbert and Sale up next. That's a pretty good-looking team you got going here, Bubba.
Well, quality starts too. I mean, Logan Gilbert, give me a break. We talked about Derek Carty saying liked him to be number one, lead the league in wins. Love the quality start potential. I thought about Chris Sale. Chris Sale made it back to me. I can get big strikeouts when he's out there. He's going to go deep into games. So why the hell not? These are really great pitching staff that I've got going here. The only problem I'm facing here, Joe, is there are just outfielders I like left and right. And I am really bad on. I'm going to take another outfielder. I'm going to go with James Wood because I'm on the clock. Had a 350 so far, career minor league OBP, stolen bases. It's hard to pass on him. There's too many good outfielders. I'm regretting just like a tad bit of taking Alvarez because I had thought about Harper. I feel like Harper instead of Alvarez would look kind of good on this team based on where some of these outfielders are out there that I kind of want to take right now.
Yeah, I really wanted him to get to me. He did not. So you're officially you're a big huge jerk. Welsh, I just want you to
know. Got 2 words for you, Joe.
Yeah.
Suck it.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's move on here to the next couple picks here. I've made mine. We're continuing on after you took Chris Sale, O'Neal Cruz at 405, Brent Rooker at 406, then Cole Reagans to Chris Clegg. So Reagan's your ace. You got to feel pretty good about that. I am somebody who typically does wait till the 4th round to pull triggers on pitchers, but I just couldn't pass up having some fun here on this last draft. So for you went Cole Reagans at 407, and then in the next round, you took Framber Valdez, Chris. So that feels like a pretty good front of this rotation. You feel like Reagans and Valdez is enough there to compete with my Tariq Skubal and Paul Skeens. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I do think that it's a solid top 2. Valdez gives you a pretty high floor, and Reagans has the upside. I think that Reagans has now shown that he can handle the workload to give you a good amount of innings year over year, and strikeout totals, ratios are there. And with Framber, it's just the high floor, what you're getting from good ratios. So yeah, it may not be Skeens and Skubal, but pretty good top 2 I'm happy with considering the bats I started with.
Nothing is, my friend. Nothing is. Emmanuel Clase goes next at 408, then Wyatt Langford, Dylan Cease, Blake Snell, back to Joe Orrico, Ozzie Albies, and Devin Williams. So instead of taking another, I'm just curious here, instead of taking another starting pitcher, you've gone closer. I know Clase went off the board there. You missed on your chance to take Jacob deGrom, Joe.
So I'm a big deGrom guy, of course, but I am
You're
not.
A liar. You're a liar.
I'm not going to
you are
you're taking him. That's what you are.
I'll post my player shares the day before opening season, and you're going to see how much of a liar I am on Jacob deGrom. I love the guy, but quality starts make the difference. I think that deGrom is going to be limited to 5 innings a lot of the time, which in regular roto, I think at 5 innings of deGrom could still be 9 strikeouts, shutout ball, but we're looking at quality starts, and I think that's where he might fall behind a little bit. So I opted to go with the lockdown closer. I usually take at least one of those top 5 or 7 names, and then also took care of a kind of a scarce position with second base and Ozzie Albies. His on-base percentage isn't fantastic, but I'm kind of buying into a bounce back year for him, and I'm hoping he can kind of get back to what he's done in each of the last 2 odd seasons, 2023 and 2021, when he played the whole year, he was fantastic. And I think the OBP can kind of work itself out.
Yeah, great analysis there too. The head-to-head, DeGrom should take a hit. You're absolutely right. Michael Harris at 502, CJ Abrams at 503. DeGrom did go at 504. Then Teoscar Hernandez, Framber to Clegg, as we mentioned before. Alex Bregman at 507. Marcelo Zuna at 508. I was hoping for him or James Wood. Instead, Welsh sniped me on both of them. Then Yamamoto at 510. Junior Caminero I was also hoping for. My queue got obliterated, so I pivoted to Lawrence Butler.
You got me back. I wanted Butler coming back around. That was the guy, so you got me back.
Serves you right. Serves you right. Like I need all the offense I can get. This is the interesting thing. It's like, all right, you take those 2 pitchers at the turn. What does it look like offensively? So Alonso, Seager, Butler, and then Marcus Semien. So I've gone full Texas Rangers here. All the American League West I can handle. Edwin Diaz at 602, then Hader at 603. Welsh, you got your closer at 604. Again, 2 RP spots. Pretty great value here on Mason Miller.
I think it was a pretty good value. I didn't love what was around. That's kind of what happened because I was going to take Butler, and that's kind of what I was alluding to. And I was like, God, I'm going to fill out my outfield. That's just what I'm going to do. But yeah, I think it ended up being a pretty good value. And I think there's a lot of value on the board right now as well that I am battling.
Yeah, I would agree. There's definitely a fair amount of value. Continuing on here after Mason Miller, Tyler Glasnow, Willie Adames, Clegg. You went in the closer market with Ryan Helsley. So did you have any pressure after Welsh took Miller to keep grabbing closers?
A little bit, and just didn't love the other values on the board. It was outfield and first base, which I already have. And so like kind of the Welsh conundrum of the outfield situation of taking the 2 outfielders in the first 3 rounds kind of was in a weird spot. Yeah, I didn't love what was there. I was like, okay, well, I'll take my closer and be happy with it.
That's right. You'll take it and you'll be happy with it.
You'll be happy with it, sir.
I am furious at Team 5 right now taking Luis Robert. That was another one I thought for sure I would get back there. Michael King, Brenton Doyle, Pablo Lopez, then Joe Orrico. 2 more starters for you, Logan Webb and Shota Imanaga. That's a pretty good look for you, my friend.
Yeah, I did pass up DeGrom earlier, but like looking at Webb with the innings projections, he's going to go 6 or 7 innings pretty much every single time out there, 190 plus innings, very much at play. And I think the projections are very high on Logan Webb, specifically ATC loves him. That's what I put into my OBP auction calculator for this draft. And he's coming in as like the SP13 overall. So I'm going to rely on Ariel's projections there and hope that I got a bargain in Logan Webb.
Okay, a bargain potentially in Logan Webb after Imanaga goes at 702. Yanier Diaz and Adley Rutschman, Aaron Nola, Josh Naylor, Cal Raleigh to Clegg was on the clock, so I'll let him pick his next pick in 8th round. George Kirby at 707, still worried about his health. Matt McLean, then Christian Walker to the Welsh. Look at that, your old friend, Christian Walker.
My buddy. I had a plan, and the next pick is much more exciting. And also the OBP format this guy thrives in. He just, doesn't play enough games for everyone to get super excited. But give me OBP. I decided Anthony Santander was on the board and was top boost, but would have been my 4th outfielder. I want to get some infield. Josh Naylor gone. Christian Walker is going to make opening day. I like him more than Josh Naylor this year. So I think he's a value, but he had dropped. And then Joey, I came back around in the next round. We're having fun with our last draft. I want to make sure I get him. I took Mike Trout. Mike Trout is my 4th outfielder. It's an OBP format where he's going to come up even a little bit more. I've mitigated the risk. I don't have a ton of infield, but I had to have him, and no chance he was coming back to me because he had been pushing into the 90s. So I locked up my Mike Trout.
You sure did. What could go wrong? Raisel Iglesias at 710, Bellinger at 711. I took Munoz and then Santander, as aforementioned. I almost went Batista and Munoz. I was just going to completely just non-Joe this draft. Just because I could, it's the last one, just to see what it would look like.
Just to get yourself to hate your own draft?
Look, as long as I beat you, that's all that matters. Felix Bautista, Westberg, Mike Trout, Sal Perez, Wilson Contreras, then Clegg. You took my boy, Mark Vientos. Look, I think Vientos is a 30, 90, 90 guy as a floor this year. You think I'm overestimating that in that lineup?
Oh, I mean, that's certainly fair. He gave you 27 homers last year and 454 plate appearances, so hard to imagine him not getting 30 this year as long as he stays healthy all year. It's, he's not a huge boost in OBP or anything of that nature. Doesn't walk a ton, but, like I said, I've got a pretty good OBP floor, so it helps out. And I really do believe in that power for sure. Lineup's going to be good. I like Vientos' value a lot there, especially third base feels shallow. So, getting Vientos before kind of a bit of a fall off later, I'm happy with.
Okay, so happy with Vientos. Luis Castillo at 808, Brian Reynolds at 809, Seiya Suzuki at 810, Bryce Miller at 811, Joe Orrico, you took Ian Happ and Spencer Strider. I was going to pull the trigger on Strider and be a real jerk here.
Me too.
All right, so we know it wouldn't have happened there. So let's talk about Strider. What are your concerns with his restrictions potentially this year, if any?
Well, I guess I took him in the right spot, considering you guys are going to take him there. I think that we could probably just count him out for April. If you want to just take like 6 starts or so off of his total and say he's probably going to pitch 22 to 25 times this year, I think that's about what we should expect. Now, with pitcher injuries, you always got to be a little bit more wary. So maybe you can take even a couple more starts off of that. But I think at this range, the per inning production I'm going to get out of him is my SP4. And even if he does have to miss a little bit more time than expected, I think that the replacement level value is so high, even in a 12-team league, that I can kind of make up for that and bank on him later on. And also, this is a head-to-head league. So when's he going to be pitching at full strength? Likely come fantasy playoffs. So I think Strider, this is the right for him to be going even a little bit earlier probably, but I think I got a good bargain on him here.
Look at the Braves run. Strider at 901, Max Fried, ex-Brave at 902, then Spencer Schwellenbach. Oh, Welsh is just miserable.
It hurt. I knew when I took Trout, I was costing myself at least one of Strider or Schwellenbach. I didn't know I was costing myself both, but I knew I was in for it.
I wanted one of these pitchers this round. Strider didn't get him. Hunter Green didn't get him. Chris Clegg took Tanner Bybee, didn't get him. Then Bailey Ober, Freddie Peralta, and Hunter Brown all went. So Clegg, let's talk about your Tanner Bybee selection. Another player I literally just drafted before I came here in our work league. So, I mean, you got to love that extension. That means that the Cleveland Guardians feel pretty good about him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think they're confident in him. He's been pretty good year over year in his 2 years since debuting. You know what you're getting out of him. Good ratios, solid strikeout numbers, low walk numbers. So good K minus BB, good ratios consistently. I think people kind of underrate Bybee. He just not the flashiest arm, but I think he's very solid. He gave you 173 innings last year. I don't see why he shouldn't give you more this year. So head-to-head league, I think you can expect him to get 6 innings pretty regularly, which is good for quality starts. And yeah, kind of a boring pitching staff so far outside of Reagan's, but I think there's some good value.
In between all those pitchers, Welsh, you selected Tristan Casas. We'll come back to you in just a moment. Hunter Brown goes, Bo Bichette goes. Then I took Riley Green and Matt Chapman and continue trying to build out that offense. I got to take some pitching soon, though, because it's flying off the board. Christian Yelich at 10:02, Bryce Terang at 10:03. Welsh, you took my dude, Sandy Alcantara. Good on you, my friend. You feel the compression in that pitching market, right? You had a couple more injuries, Shane McClanahan off the board. Next thing you know, all of a sudden, that Alcantara ADP really kind of soared
also
in the last couple of days.
Quality starts. Like I'm not.
True.
Well, it's one of the things we're holding back on him with the Marlins wins. Well, guess what? Quality starts. He's built to go 7. Obviously they could pare that down a little bit, but I love getting him in the quality start market. And yeah, I did feel that's a good way you put it, like the compression of the pitching market, because there was this big bevy of dudes that I kind of lost out on. Usually Schwellenbach is like a number 3 for me, but I like getting Sandy there, especially in this format.
Welsh, a bevy of dudes. Isn't that the club you used to work at when you were in college?
Mm-hmm. Yes, 100%. I frequented
when you used to dance.
Yeah, I was a bouncer.
No, you were a dancer. You were a dancer. I've seen your moves. It's very good. Yeah. Sandy Alcantara goes at 10:04, then 10:05, Roki Sasaki, Vinny Pasquantino, Clegg, Zach Gallen. This pitching staff starting to look pretty good here.
Yeah,
Reagan,
like
Valdez, and then you've got Bybee, Gallen, and Justin Steele on the way back in the 11th. This is not a boring pitching staff, my friend. I think this looks pretty damn deep to me.
Yeah, it worked out pretty good, just how it shook out. I think that it just shows that you can wait, especially in a 12-team league. You get bats early and you can get some pretty good arms with some good value. And even a head-to-head league where pitching is very valuable, like I feel pretty good with the top 5 that I have so far. So yeah, I'm certainly happy with how the staff's shaking out. Gallen last year, he had a bit of a down year, but also he had a bit of the World Series hangover. Like he threw 250 innings in 2023. Like, what do we expect? So I think that Gallen's back this year to his old self and provides plenty of value.
I agree, my friend. I'm all in. A great value this year. In fact, I think he could be a league winner this year because of that value. If he performs like a 1 or a 2 and you're drafting him as a 4, I mean, come on. Duran goes next, then 10:09, Jake Berger, Joe Ryan, Dylan Cruz, Randy Rosarena to Joe Orrico, who then takes Isaac Paredes in 11:01. Will Smith, we'll get to you, Joe. I know you're making your picks there. Jack Flaherty, Sonny Gray, questions about him. Grayson Rodriguez, Justin Steele, Ryan Walker, then Spencer Steer, the Welsh, Tanner Scott, So look at you continuing on that closer run. Ezekiel Tovar, Shane McClanahan, and then I took Brian Wu and Carlos Rodon building out my rotation. Stephen Kwan goes next at 12:02. Kodai Senga, Xavier Edwards. So Welsh, let's talk about Scott and Edwards, and then we'll get to Joe Orrico's picks here in a moment.
Yeah, well, one thing I want to throw out is I'm really feeling the pressure. I can't believe this is the last draft of the season. I haven't had this. Maybe it's OBP. I can't believe how much I'm regretting going high outfield in this. I've never had that happen before because there are guys left and right. Stephen Kwan absolutely fell in this format. I would have loved to have taken him, but I have all four. So I'm really kind of feeling the pressure of that. Back to my picks, though. I wanted Andres Munoz, didn't get him. Tanner Scott is my number 2 with the Dodgers. I'm absolutely in love with that. And who the hell is my other pick
Who the hell is my other pick?
Oh, Xavier Edwards. So you took Wu. That was one I wanted. I've been looking at Edwards because he's a huge OBP boost. He's a great stolen base chase. He's kind of a nothing burger as far as power goes, but I've already taken Walker and Casas and Alvarez and Wood and Trout. I can afford to do this. And I'm just going to throw this out there. There's an outfielder or two I really like to chase stolen bases. They're kind of off the table for me because I did this with outfield. So Edwards became more important to the build to get some stolen bases. So I'm happy with where we're at, but I'm feeling the pressure. It's so weird. I haven't had this in quite some time where a position has locked me out of my strategy. Yeah,
are you okay? You're feeling triggered? Do you want your blankie?
I want a severance. I need for my fantasy drafting life versus this life. I need to sever.
Sounds good. Oops, go make your pick. You got 8 seconds. All right. Joe Orrico, last couple picks. Arozarena, Paredes, 2 great values there, especially if Arozarena bounces back. Then Christopher Sanchez, a Welsh favorite, and Dansby Swanson. So how do you feel about these last few picks? Break them down for me.
I feel really good. Like they're all guys that get boosts in on-base percentage formats. Arozarena, I think even if this was just a standard batting average league, I got him around pick 120. I think that's about where he should be going, but the on-base percentage really negates that kind of negative that he would give you. That negates the negative, a little bit of a double negative there. And then Isak Paredes, a little bit, quite a lot of it. And then Isak Paredes is another guy who's walking a ton in spring training. He's been walking a lot, 20% walk rate through 15 spring games. He hit a home run yesterday that he's going to be doing a lot of this year, pulling it into the Crawford boxes. So I like those 2 picks a lot. And then Christopher Sanchez, I think that this is a really good place for him to go. He probably should be going even a little bit earlier at the end of the 12th round. And Dansby, I needed a shortstop, another guy who's going to give me a good on-base percentage. So I think I've leaned maybe a little bit too heavily into the OBP, and I need to start filling out some of the other categories. But I have a really strong base there.
All right. A strong base. That's very important. We all know that. All right. I'm going to make my picks here because I'm back to back. So I'm going to go ahead and take my guys and see where it goes from here. I got a slight reach from Draft Wizard. Thanks, Draft Wizard. Let's go after where did we leave off here? Where did we leave off here? So Dansby Swanson at 1301, Jared Jones. Who knows if and when? Jeff Hoffman at 1303, Brandon Nimmo at 1304, Logan O'Hoppe at 1305, Chris Clegg, you took Xander Bogaerts. You are on the clock for your next pick. Nick Pivetta at 1307. Then we had Pete Armstrong go. Gavin Williams, you took him from me, Welsh. I had him in the queue. You sniped me, you dirty bastard. Great pick there. Love this. How many innings does Gavin Williams give you this year, you think?
I guess I was about to say barring injury. That's what you were asking. I don't know. I think like 160. Like 160 would be like the fair marker. Does that sound, Clegg, what does that sound about right with Gavin Williams, you think?
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Adolis Garcia, 1310. Real Muto at 1311. I took Profar and Ryan Pepio at the turn. 1402. Nick Castellanos, then Josh Lowe. Eugenio Suarez to the Welsh, another Diamondback. So what Suarez are you getting this year, Welsh? Are you getting the one from the first half or the second half?
I mean, I'm banking on the second. If I get the second half one, that's a huge value that I just got. If I get the first half one, then I'm going to be looking for replacements. But, this is a weird constructed draft that I did because I went heavy outfield with heavy pitching. So I'm kind of playing from behind a little bit on the infield. So I'm looking for value. Suarez, better probably OBP play, big power potential. I was really behind looking on Draft Wizard. I've been behind on RBI runs and homers. I'm doing pretty well in some other spots, but I've got to play catch up. So Suarez was just a big bat that's going to hopefully push me a little bit more in line with that.
All right. We'll see if it is true or not. After Suarez, Trevor McGill, then you've got Seth Lugo, Chris Clegg. Every time I come to you, you're on the clock. So do the best you can here. Bogaerts, Taylor Ward, the last 2 picks for you. So you're filling out that offense. Colton Cowser before that. What are your thoughts on Cowser, Bogaerts, and Taylor Ward?
Yeah, I thought Cowser fell pretty far. I like the value there. Provides good OBP, some power, speed. Bogarts is boring, but second base gets boring too. So it's like I needed somebody there. And yeah, the next pick, Taylor Ward, another one where I feel like he just continually undervalued year over year and provides good value. And you can wind up getting a pretty good return for him as long as he stays healthy, that is. But yeah, I do think Ward fits this format pretty well.
Alec Boehm at 1408, Luis Ariz at 1409, Ronaldo Lopez, Kevin Gossman. Then Joe Orrico, you took Jonathan India and Tyler O'Neill. Your thoughts on India now that he is in KC?
Yeah, he gets a big boost in on-base percentage formats. He's usually outside of the top 200 in most of these mocks we've been doing, but I love him this year. He's one of my most rostered players. I think he's my favorite second baseman, considering the cost to draft. He's not my number one second baseman, but just considering where he's going, the situation leading off ahead of Bobby Witt, Sal Perez, Vinny P. I think we'll see about Vinny P with this whole injury thing, but he looks pretty good, so I don't think he's going to miss too much time. I think that Jonathan India is one of my favorite picks, one of the best values on the board this season. And then the other pick was who was the other one that I took? It was India and it was Tyler O'Neill.
It's Tyler O'Neill, yeah.
India and Tyler O'Neill. And that was simply just needing a little bit of power. The projections have me 8th in the power department. Not my favorite, but we're going to try and make up for some of that because I got a pretty solid on base percentage base. I'm ranked 3rd there behind the 2 Chris's. And then I think I need to just make up some power the rest of the way.
All right, so we'll see if we can make up that power. I'm going to go ahead and take my selections here. Let's go through. I got a value pick. So before Draft Wizard wasn't happy with me. Now a little bit better. So that's nice to see. It's moving in the other direction there. All right, let's continue on here. After the selections from Joe Orrico, Tyler O'Neill, you got Yusei Kikuchi at 1502, Jeremy Pena at 1503, Rengifo at 1504, Kerry Carpenter, then Bryson Stott. Stott lasted a long time, but if you're looking for stolen bases later in that middle infield spot, you could do worse than Stott, right, Clegg?
Yeah, I think so. And, waiting on both my middle infield, it kind of left limited options. But, I think that Stott, we've seen him go 15-30, and I don't see a reason why he can't get back to who he was in 2023. A lot of the metrics last year under the hood were very similar to what he did in 2023. So kind of think we see a bounce back for him this year. And yeah, like you said, he fell kind of far and stolen bases are there.
Next up, Spencer Arrighetti, then Ryan Presley. Welsh, you took Nady Eovaldi again, sniping me. You're killing me, Welsh.
Quality starts, man. Chasing him.
I know. We're coming back to you in a second. Paul Goldschmidt, then Jose Barrios. Pete Fairbanks to me. I'm getting the other closer. And then I have got Jackson Holiday. So Profar, Pepio, Fairbanks, Holiday, my last couple picks. Clegg, you're a prospect guy. Let's talk about Jackson Holiday. Second time around, what are we going to get from Jackson Holiday?
I think he's definitely going to be better this year. It's hard to imagine that he's not. I mean, it's kind of funny that he's almost the opposite profile that he was billed to be as a prospect. And, all the big outlets threw 70 grades on the hit tool. I was never there because the contact rates were never there from his pro debut, like in the minors at any point. But he's kind of become a power over hit guy, which is weird to say. His exit velocities are really good. On pulled fly balls, he ran an exit velocity, average EV north of 100 miles an hour last year. He gets the ball in the air often. And he hits it hard in the air. So Holiday may not run the batting average as people think, but I do think there's going to be more juice, and the OBP is going to be solid. Like, he's got a really good approach. I think that's been cleaned up. It didn't look great last year in his debut, but again, important to remember, he just turned 21 years old. Guys aren't going to be great. Most prospects come up and are going to struggle. It's just the nature of the game. I think everybody expects these guys to come up and light the world on fire like a Soto or a Acuna or Tatis did. But yeah, I think that he was rushed. I think the talent's there for sure. But I think that it all comes down to expectations. Like, what do you expect from Jackson Holiday? I think he can give you a 18 home run season this year. I think he can steal a few bags and be productive across the board. So yeah, I certainly think a bigger year is in order for him.
I'll take that in the 16th round. Give me 18, maybe more. Who knows? Michael Tolia goes next at 1602, then Alec Burleson, then Welsh to Gleyber Torres. So Welsh, I keep saying that although the ballpark factor is going to be worse than Yankee Stadium, I think him getting out of New York, continue to say, I think is the best medicine for him. And that Tigers lineup is much better than people realize. What do you think you're in store for with Torres in 2025?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That I think a change of scenery is going to be really important. There's an aggressiveness. He's going to get to hit in the middle of the lineup. Never been a huge OBP guy, but 330 last year, 347 the year before that. I've got a high OBP team, so I'm kind of banking on that bounce back to him to get to those mid 20 homers late in the draft. He seems really revived on that team. So it's a little speculative, but again, I have to play a little bit more speculative with this draft strategy that I've implemented, which is just riskier, just a little bit riskier.
A little bit riskier there. All right, let's continue on with the picks here. So after you took Gleyber Torres, Encarnacion Strand goes, then Tyler Stevenson, Clegg took Max Muncy. He's back up on the clock. Byron Buxton at 1608, Nico Horner, Andres Jimenez, Lane Thomas, then Lars Nootbaar to Joe Orrico at 1612 and 1701, Brandon Lau. Lars Nootbaar. Now that's a name that Welsh talked about a lot the last couple of years. Hasn't really come to fruition. So he still loves him. How do you feel about Lars Nootbaar? You made this selection here, so you must have some faith in him as well.
I do, and this is somebody that I've also liked for a long time. But the big thing is that we've seen it over the last couple of days that he looks like he might be leading off in St. Louis. Mason Wynn, the most recent spring training lineups, and Mason Wynn's had a terrible spring as much as I love him. And it looks like he might be batting towards the bottom of the order, if not even ninth, with Lars Nootbaar occupying one of those top two spots. Given his on-base skills, that makes sense. He's a solid, well-rounded 5-category contributor, and I needed one more outfielder. So I love getting Nootbaar there. And Brandon Lau, like I mentioned earlier, I need a little bit of power here. I can put him in as a corner infielder, first and second base eligibility on some formats. So that's really about just making up some of the power. Nootbaar is the real prize there, though.
That's right. The real prize is the Nootbaar. That's what it is. All right, let's continue on here. After you have Brandon Lau, Mason Wynn goes right after Brandon Pfaadt, then Victor Robles, Zach Eflin, Chris Clegg. You took Kenley Jansen. No, he is now your next second closer, excuse me. So when you have Jansen here, obviously an older closer, you got Joyce in that bullpen. Do you think Jansen ends up playing the whole year with the Angels, or do you think same team might come knocking for a veteran closer at some point?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. They move him. I've never been a Ben Joyce fan. He just doesn't miss bats like you'd expect from the velocity. So I do think that Jansen keeps the role as long as he's in LA. I didn't want to take Kenley Jansen. I really wanted Pete Fairbanks a couple of rounds ago, and you took him. So I needed a closer, and I was like, well, I think he gets saved. So it was boring, but yeah, that's kind of where I went, even though I didn't love the pick there a bit.
Another one out of my queue, Clay Holmes at 1707, then Sean Manaea. I'm getting crushed here. I mean, this is why I like the turn. Every now and then you get one of these drafts where it just does not work for you, where you're just getting obliterated. And that's what's happening to me. Soler out of my queue too. That was my go-to DH. Thanks, Welsh. Way to go. Shane Baz, then Rafaela. I don't take Brandon Woodruff. So I'm going to take a shot there on Woodruff, who velocity-wise was up in the mid-90s. That's where we want him to be. If he starts by the end of April, we are looking at a guy who's a front rotation guy. And then I took Matt Shaw because I still believe in Matt Shaw. Got some pop, got some speed, great hit tool, position flexibility as well. Ronel Blanco goes next, then Austin Wells right before Welsh. That's got to sting, but Soler and Tanner Houck, that's what you ended up with the last 2 rounds, Welsh.
Yeah, it did. I pivoted to Soler because I wanted Victor Robles. It's like 380 OBP last 2 years, high OBP, massive stolen bases. I would have, utilized him as a util or move Alvarez. It doesn't matter. I got sniped, so I went with the heavier power in Soler. Not as good of an OBP, but I'm still near the top. Tanner Houck, again, just like guys that are going to push innings. I felt really comfortable about that. There's still some pretty good, solid SP values out there, but Houck ends up being like my SP 5 or 6. And it's my SP 6 right now. So really good value. Looking for guys to push innings. I passed on like Brandon Pfaadt for Eovaldi because I want guys to go a little bit deeper in. So not everything is working out 100% here, but I'm relatively happy with this construction and dying to know, just to let everybody know, I am top 5 in every pitching category, but I am like 9 or lower in 4 of the 5 hitting categories. So we're going to have to see how the system is going to put me out here. Because I'm number 1 OBP. I'm a top of OBP.
I'm going to be last. I'm predicting I'm going to be last in this because I went pitcher, but we'll find out in a second. I just went off the board. Try something new. Hey, it's the last one. At least all I did was
it's like college.
You know what I did? I drove home the concept of I'm right, wait on pitching. And that's good. It's sometimes you need to just get it out of your system one time. And I did. So I hope all of you can learn from this. Tanner Houck goes in, Carlos Correa, Zach Neto. Clegg, you took Tommy Edman, then Taj Bradley, Alexis Diaz, Yandy Diaz, Back-to-back Diaz, boys. Jordan Romano, then Reese Olson and Joe Orrico and Gabriel Moreno. So catcher off the board for you, Gabriel Moreno. Another one that I think offensively we've been waiting to see this other gear in him, but we just haven't seen it yet. Is this the season we do for Moreno?
I'm hoping so. I think if he plays a whole season or a whole catcher season, 125, 130 games, we could maybe see him get to double-digit homers, chip in a couple of steals. The on-base percentage is going to be good, and the lineup is very good. Arizona scored the most runs in the major leagues last season. So for a punt at the position, I'll take it.
Punting at the position. There you have it, everybody. All right, let's see. I'm done with util there. I don't know why it's telling me to take this guy. I don't want to take that guy. I'm going to take this guy instead because I'm worried about the rest of these jabronis in this draft. So Gabriel Moreno goes, David Bednar goes, Nick Lodolo goes, then Heel, Gore, Clegg, you took Bowden Francis. Francis had a terrific season, about 100 innings or so. So now we're talking about league adjustments, him adjusting back. How do you see that shaking out? And here's a fun one for you. Who throws more innings this year, Bowden Francis or Max Scherzer for the Blue Jays? Joe Orrico, earmuffs.
I debated both of those picks there. So I was looking at Scherzer and Francis, and I would bet that Francis throws more innings. Yeah, I just don't trust Scherzer to stay healthy, unfortunately. Get that age, and you got all kind of injuries popping up. We've seen it with Scherzer and Verlander the last few years. Still very talented, but also the question, like, what does Francis get to? He threw 103 last year. What's the jump? I think he can get to 150. I think that's pretty reasonable, but is it a slow build up? Like, is he getting 6 innings early in the year? And the answer is probably not. So it could be a case where he is building up throughout the year to get to those 6 innings regularly. But I do buy some of the changes he made last year with the pitch mix change, and we got the results with it. Now, is he going to be that good for a whole season? No. Like, I don't expect him to have a 3.30 ERA, a sub-1 whip. But if I get a high 3s ERA and a whip below 120, I think it's pretty good value in that spot as one of my final SP to fill out the roster.
I agree. In a lot of leagues, he qualifies at RP too.
Yep.
Gurriel goes next. Clark Schmidt, Jesus Luzardo to the Welsh. Again, thanks, Welsh. Rasmussen, Nestor Cortez. I took JJ Bleday and Ivan Herrera. So I got my catcher there. Walker Buehler in 2002. Then Mitch Keller, Trevor Story. Welsh, Trevor Story, and Jesus Luzardo. Once upon a time, Trevor Story was a good fantasy player. That has not been the case for some time. I'm curious. Why take Trevor Story and not Christian Campbell? Just for the upside, for the youth? I'm curious. Why'd you do that?
It's so funny that you say that because I do think I think it was a little bit.
I know
more
how
algorithm.
you think. I know the brain of the Welsh.
No, I was staring at them. I probably like Christian Campbell probably should have been the play. I didn't think it would help me in the projection here a ton because the projections are kind of wonky. And I think he could slow start. Probably the better choice with Christian Campbell. I do believe if Trevor Story plays the season, he's a 2020 guy. He's just not a big push on OBP. But yeah, no, it's a fair point, and it's 1,000%. I was staring at both of them and be like, do I just take Campbell or do I risk maybe potentially trying to win this draft? Campbell was probably the better choice.
All right. Let's move on here. After Trevor Story, you have Max Scherzer, then AJ Puck, Nathaniel Lowe to Chris Clegg, who's back on the clock, Jackson Jobe, Urseg, Arenado, Alvarez, who I like you're getting value in single catcher leagues, man. You can wait, get Wells, Herrera, Alvarez is going to start the year hurt. The hamate bone can be tricky, but you could probably plug and play a 10 or 12 team league for a couple weeks or even a month and a half if you needed that long. Justin Martinez to Joe Orrico and Jeffrey Springs. Springs, the guy that I've been talking about a lot recently. He was just on our league winner show. If you missed that, you can go back and watch on our YouTube channel. That if he regains any sort of form before the injury, and look, last year he did come back, some mixed results, but the strikeout to walk ratio was there. The Ks were there in spring. I think Springs is really tempting, especially because he's basically free.
Yeah, as one of my last pitchers, I'm kind of hoping exactly what you're saying, that he can bounce back to where he was before. He's thrown 313 innings in his career, 3.39 ERA, 125 whip, with almost a 20% strikeout minus walk rate. If I can get that in the later rounds, essentially as like a bench piece, I'll take that every day from Springs. It's all upside. And Justin Martinez, they just paid the man. So I'm kind of banking on him being the closer. Welsh, you're the Diamondbacks guy. What do you think? Does that sound about right?
I think they're going to just implement both of the guys. They just signed Justin Martinez. I think he's the future. I think Puck is the best of them, and I think they will fireman it between them. I've been pretty adamant that Puck is my guy, but at the end of the day, it could be Justin Martinez saves 15 games, Puck saves 20, or it could be around the other side. So I think either one plays.
I like the follow the money strategy, though. That typically does work out. Although the Diamondbacks have had trouble sometimes spending the money in weird choices they make. Josh Young at 2102. Yeah. Andrew Vaughn, Kumar Rocker, Garcia, Michael Wacha to Clegg. Now, Clegg, I know you took Michael Wacha. I know you're on the clock again here. Every time I come to Clegg, because he's in the middle of the draft,
it's okay.
Somehow he's up there, but he made his pick. It was Jake McCarthy. So Rocker, another prospect I want to talk to you about. I know it wasn't your pick, but Kumar Rocker, another guy, big strikeout potential, but the question is about the innings and what he can sustain this year. I keep coming back to the fact that I think he would be an electric Lee Smith type closer. Do you think that at some point you might see him in the bullpen this year, or you think he stays a starter and they just manage those innings?
I'm guessing he probably has his innings managed as a starter. They need starters is the problem in Texas, and they've had some injuries. Cody Bradford went down, John Gray. They had talked about him in the bullpen. Also, he's out. So I think that Rocker's the guy in that rotation now. I mean, I don't think Jack Leiter is that good. Like everybody's talked about Jack Leiter. He still has zero feel for command at all.
I agree.
And I think that Rocker is the better suited starter there. Leiter could go to the bullpen and potentially play up. But no, I'm certainly on Rocker. The fastball is really good. He has that bullet slider that misses bats, and he's kind of tinker with a changeup at times where I think that could be the pitch that kind of pushes him over the edge as a starter. And yeah, the innings are the question. You mentioned that last year he threw 36 innings in the minors and 12 in the majors. So not a lot of innings at all. So how do they push him? Like, how many does he get this year? Does he even get 100? That is a question mark. But I think if healthy, like they are going to push him and kind of see where it goes.
See, that's why I like the closer role, because the same with Mason Miller is like, okay, how do you get the best out of this guy? The way you do it is by giving him clean innings, making sure he's only pitching so many days a week, and let him go out there and just let all hang out. And it worked with Mason Miller. I think Rocker would serve this team very well if they were to do that. But we'll see. Michael Wacha goes, and Willie Castro, you Darvish. Welsh, look at that. You had your cake and you ate it too. I knew you were going to take Christian Campbell on the way back if it made it to. I was hoping Clegg would snipe you there. Ugh, the worst.
You guys let me have him. I got my balance. I got Christian Campbell, who's the better pick, but I also got Story to bat. I just should have flipped it. So, hey, you know what? Good things happen to good people, Joe. That's all I'm saying.
If you say so. All right. Granger Suarez, then Merrill Kelly. I took Luis Severino, and then Rhys Hoskins. Carlos Estevez goes next. Cedric Mullins. Welsh, you took Aroldis Chapman. Who gets more saves this year, Chapman or Hendricks for the Red Sox? As you continue to stack Red Sox here.
I think it's going to be Chapman. I know they've kind of gone back and forth. Liam Hendricks said Chapman is the better reliever right now, but they have said that Hendricks is not done with it. I don't think Chapman's going to let it go. I think Boston's going to be a powerhouse this year. I think we might look back and we might just laugh at ourselves for how late Aroldis Chapman went. Could be wrong, but guess what? He's a bench reliever for me. He's my third reliever, so I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah. Look, man, forget about it. I think that, you can get those guys late. That's why I like to wait on closers. Typically, that's what I do. Chapman goes and Kirby Yates, Zach Geloff. Clegg takes Jake McCarthy, Helio Ramos. Nice value there. Kyle Finnegan, Connor Norby, who's actually starting now on the IL. We just found that out today. Ben Joyce, favorite of Chris Clegg. Jock Peterson to Joe Orrico, Grant Holmes. So nice picks here. Joe Orrico, you got some more power in Texas with Jock Peterson coming off a really solid power season, and Grant Holmes, a really solid year in that rotation for the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, I love Peterson. I've talked a couple times now that I needed a little bit more power. I'm just going to take one bench bat, and he'll be the one in a head-to-head league. I think that you can slot him in there, and he's probably only going to play against right-handed pitching, but I'll definitely take that production. And then Grant Holmes, I really like his potential this season. I don't know what to expect from a volume standpoint, but I think while he's out there, he's going to be very, very good. And I think that you're probably looking at a mid to high 3s ERA with a 120 whip or something like that. Does that sound about right, Chris Clegg?
Yeah, I think so. I like Holmes a lot. He's sneaky.
Ryan Mountcastle at 2302, Jason Foley, then Michael Conforto, Otario Estrada, who's also going to miss significant start to the season. Matthew Boyd to Chris Clegg, who, guess what? He's on the clock. We'll come back to you in a second. Chris Bassett, Brendan Donovan. No, you made your pick. Great.
I did.
Matthew Boyd, your last pick. Garrett Mitchell. That's a favorite sleeper that's been on the show for quite some time. So let's talk about Garrett Mitchell.
I think Garrett Mitchell has to stay healthy, and he's not proved to do that at any point in his career. And that's an issue. But your last pick in your draft is made to kind of churn. If it works out, great. Like, there's power, their speed. Yes, he has to lift the ball more to get to that power. We know that he has too many ground balls, but he does hit the ball incredibly hard. He's got elite sprint speed. He's going to steal bases. And there's OBP skills as well. Like you look at the OBP last year, 342 in 224 plate appearances. It's just the factor of, can Garrett Mitchell actually play a full season? He's got to prove it to us, but I'll take my chances with the last pick there that he can give you a 2020 season. I don't think that's crazy to say if he plays and gets 500 plus plate appearances.
Okay. Last picks here, just recapping as we go. So after Boyd, then Bassett, Donovan, Dustin May, Holton, McMahon, I took Colt Keith and David Peterson. I was tempted to take Max Meyer too, but I decided to go Peterson. He's having a great spring, and he's got a spot in that Mets rotation. They're going to score a ton of runs. Morel, then Verlander, Kybert Ruiz, Ryan Weathers, Brady Singer, Garrett Mitchell, Festa, sorry, Joe Orrico, Tyler Fitzgerald, Jameson Zion, Jake Cronenworth, and Eric Fetty. So it was much better. Draft Wizard liked me more than I thought. I got a B+. It was not the best of us. Chris Clegg was better than me. He finished at number 2 overall. I finished at number 4. Joe Orrico at the number 1 spot with Shohei Ohtani took one for the team and took home the gold. So gold to you, silver to Chris Clegg. Team 3 gets a bronze. I'm on the outside looking in, but at least I beat the Welsh, who is in 5th place. That's all that matters, Welsh.
Good guys always finish last. That's what I've always said. Bad things happening to great people is really sad to see that I finished. I got to be, but I was behind Joe. So it's pretty demoralizing way to end the season to be behind Pisapia.
Hey, first time for everything. The first time all draft season that Ariel Cohen's actually liked my draft. I love this. This makes me very happy there. Chris Towers hated it. Andy Behrens hated it. Chris Clegg, when you look at the expert opinions, did you get any positive or negative from any experts that we might know and love?
I did not, actually. I didn't get any from anybody, but the what if said, if you drafted Matt Olson at 3.6 in the outfield later, you would have scored higher. That's exactly what I said when it happened. And when he came back in the 3rd round, I was like, yeah, I wish I had taken Olson over Harper. So yeah, it agreed with me, but
you actually did. I'll read it off for you. If you got to click on after summary, expert opinions
next to summary at the top.
I did not do that.
Blake Meyer loved you the most. Scott Pianowski, Kelly Kirby, Andy Behrens, and Chase Davis, all big thumbs up. Frank Amarant hated you. Thanks, you're garbage. Kev hated you. Greg Smith, who was number 1 in projections for the season last year, hated you. And Ariel Cohen, not a big
sorry,
fan.
Ariel.
Well, it's okay. He hates my draft every single time. Let's talk about Clegg's team. Cal Raleigh, Bryce Harper, Xander Bogaerts, Bryson Stott, Vientos, Nathaniel Lowe, Edmund, Juan Soto, Schwarber, Kowser, Ward, McCarthy. The pitching staff, phenomenal. Reagans, Valdez, Bybee, Zach Gallen, Steele. You'll go to war with that in a head-to-head. Then Bowden Francis, Waka, Helsley, Jensen. The bench is Muncy, Mitchell, and Boyd. So what would you grade this, Chris Clegg?
I think it's a solid B. I think I waited too long in the middle infield. That hurt. I mean, having to roll with Stott and Bogaerts, like I don't love, and then certainly the middle infield spot, not great. But I think as Welsh should kind of refer to in the draft, waiting in outfield certainly would have been the play, just because there were so many good outfield values. I like the pitching staff though. I think the pitching turned out really good considering I waited a bit, and so I'm happy on that end. Don't love Kenley Jansen. Probably could have had a better value there. Kind of panicked after I lost Peter Fairbanks, who I really wanted, and just grabbed Jansen. But it's a solid B. I think it could have been better from several different aspects, but I don't hate it.
Just got the tweet of the year too. I just saw on Twitter. Someone listener to the show said subtweeted our FP MLB news tweet about Evan Carter getting sent down and said, if only everyone listened to Joe Pisapia more. I agree. I agree. That was just breaking news.
Found
there.
Someone to mute.
All right, Joe Orrico, you're the best of us. So let's talk about your draft here. Gabriel Moreno at catcher, Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, Dansby Swanson, Isaac Paredes, really solid here. Low and India in the middle and corner spots. Then Ian Happ, Randy Rosarina, O'Neill, Lars Nootbaar, Shohei Ohtani, the difference maker right there in the util spot. Then the pitching staff, Crochet, Imanaga, Webb, Strider. Man, that is solid. Sanchez, Reese Olson, Springs, Devin Williams, Martinez, and then Peterson, Holmes, and Fetty on the bench. I agree. I think this is an A minus. So did you get an A or A minus? What was it? Or is A plus probably?
No, I got a legit A. There's no Canadian A's on this episode.
Did you know this? Chris Clegg, did you know? Go ahead, Orrico. Tell them about how they grade stuff up in Canada.
All right, so here we go. I'm going to get myself in more trouble in the comments, but let's have it. So in Canada, the way that the grading system works is that 90 to 100 counts as A plus. 86 through 89 is an A. 81 to 85 is A minus.
Wow.
And then 70 through 79 is B. 60 through 69 is C. 50 through 59 is D.
So it's like impossible to fail pretty much.
I mean, like, it's the crazy. It is the craziest.
And you get extra credit if you just say you're sorry for getting a bad grade. That you get right off the bat there.
That conversion is the wildest of all time.
It's
it
so
really
good.
is.
And this blew our mind last time. So I wanted to share it with somebody new. Welsh, let's take a look at your squad here and see what you think. 5th place. That's what a good enough for. Kybert Ruiz, Christian Walker, Gleyber Torres, Xavier Edwards, Eugenio Suarez, Casas, Story, Corbin Carroll, Alvarez, James Wood, Mike Trout, Jorge Soler, then the pitching staff, Gilbert, Sale, Alcantara, Eovaldi, Houck, Gavin Williams, Luzardo, fantastic. Mason Miller, Scott, and then Christian Campbell, Aroldis Chapman, and Dustin May on the bench. Boy, I bet the Red Sox are ready to win that division. If they do, you're going to be a happy boy with this roster.
Go over to Betting Pros and listen to Seth Wolcock, Orrico, and myself did a preseason betting show, and I'm definitely in on a lot of different Red Sox things. Here's
How
a couple.
did I not get invited to that?
I don't know. Yeah, you're usually the host on that. You were excluded. Sorry, buddy.
Man,
sorry about it.
Brutal. I got a short coming out with my favorite bet. Maybe that's why. Maybe.
Yeah, they didn't want to. They didn't want to do Ohtani plus another person for MVP.
That's just good. That's just good practice, bro.
Yeah.
That's just good practice.
So on this,
going to win the National League MVP. Whether
so
we
on
like
this
it or
team,
not.
I think this is. I do think I'm getting undercut on a couple things. I think it's undercutting me a little bit on quality starts, maybe a tiny bit of offense, but at the end of the day, it's probably right. I mean, technically I got an A in Canada, but I think this is like a B. I think this is like a B type of team. There's a couple things like Gleyber, Kybert. I don't know. Edwards, we'll have to see. I think it's a tad bit better, but I understand it. On my insights, by the way, categorically, I was top 4 in 5 categories, which is wild. I was top 4 in 4 pitching categories: strikeouts, ERA, whip, and quality starts, and top 4 in OBP, yet I still was 5th in here. It thought I reached on Gavin Williams and Christian Campbell, which is incorrect, 100%. And it did give me a what if I drafted Gunnar over Corbin Carroll. Expert opinions, Luke Glockner from Mr. Cheat Sheet loved my team the most. Mike McGregor, Dalton Del Don, Scott White, and little old Chris Welsh loved this team. Kev from Rasball did not like it, also from here. Brandon Myers always hates me. Pierre Camus just perennially hates me. Brad Kamara and Kelly Kirby did not like my team.
All right, so let's see if
Joe Pisapia actually liked my draft. I just realized.
that's why you got an A, because people have been cracking the code lately. I've been getting a lot of tweets about that too, where it's like, hey, look, I actually got a good grade from you, so now I'm ready. I'm tough. I'm not just going to hand it out to you. This is in Canada. I'm from Brooklyn. Okay. You know how hard it is to get a good grade in Brooklyn? You ever hear us talk? All right, let's get to my team. Tell me if pocket aces worked or did not work for this roster. Ivan Herrera, catcher, Pete Alonso, Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, Matt Chapman, Matt Shaw, Jackson Holiday, Lawrence Butler, Santander, Riley Green, Jurickson Profar, Reese Hoskins. Okay. It's a pretty decent offense, I think. Pitchers, Skeens, Skubal, Wu, Rodon, Pepio, Woodruff, Severino, then Munoz, Fairbanks, the benches, Blade, Cole Keith, and David Peterson. Welsh, did the pocket aces work for you on this roster?
There's some stuff I don't love, like on the offense. You took a lot of upside though. I'm gonna pair that back. Like Ivan Herrera is my starter. You have 2 rookies on the corner and middle, which is a little bit risk. And then you've got Reese Hoskins at util, but the rest is like a really core offense you were able to, I think, put across the board. I'm not sure if you've got elite power, but then you got Santander and Alonso.
Yeah, Santander and Alonso.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Last time I checked.
And you kind of played it how you need to play it with pocket aces. You waited a bit, but waiting got you Brian Wu and Rodon and Pepio. I might have wanted one more solid pitcher.
Well, I did. That run killed me. There were 2 runs that killed me there.
Yeah.
In the where everybody Q got obliterated by you, by Clegg. It was just the worst.
If you had gotten Alcantara and Wu.
Yeah, you know who got him? You jerk. You jerk face. Clegg, pocket aces at 12. What do you think of this build? And you can be honest here. You won't hurt my feelings.
I think it works. And if there's a format to do it, it's probably a head-to-head format for sure, just to kind of secure pitching. But yeah, I think that just with the pitching pool and how ADP's kind of shaped up this year, Yeah, I probably wouldn't go that route. I think the early bats are kind of where I want to attack. And then I think getting one ace early, and then you can kind of build out from there with some solid arms. It's interesting the way the board's fallen this year, in my opinion, the way ADP's shaken out, and there's just so many good pitching values up and down the board, at least in my opinion.
Oh, it's my opinion too. I just saw it and I said, you know what? It's the last show. Let's give everybody some different strategies here to go into their final drafts. But what do you think? Who won the draft? Who had the best team? Drop your comments below. Subscribe to the channel. You could win yourself a John Smoltz autographed jersey. When you do, we're trying to get to 25,000 by opening day here on Fantasy Pros MLB YouTube channel. And of course, subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Don't forget, run your mock drafts on your own right now. Use the draft simulator. It's free. It's fun. And you could do like 20 drafts in an hour. It's unbelievable what you can do here. And the bots have really caught up too, man. The bots have been really good in this draft in particular. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on for Chris Clegg, Joe Orrico, and our favorite guest, the Welsh. I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.